All of this story would take place after the events of the Granola Saga, where Goku not only became stronger during his battle against Gas, but also got a glimpse of his past and remembered his father, Bardock. This was made possible thanks to the last recording from Bardock's scouter, as Goku had managed to recognize his father's voice, reminding him of the last words he had heard from him when he was just a child. A couple of weeks had passed since that event, and everything was peaceful and calm in the present. Goku was meditating on top of a hill in Mount Paozu, where the fresh breeze caressed his face as he remembered the stories about his father, Bardock. He had heard a lot about him and how he had fought bravely against Frieza and his followers, which led to a thought crossing his mind. What if he could revive his father and train together? However, it had been a long time since his death, so he wasn't very clear if he could revive him due to the rules of the Dragon Balls. Because of this, Goku knew there was only one person he could turn to for answers, so with a smile on his face, Goku teleported to King Kai's planet. Upon arriving, he found the wise master resting under his favorite tree. "King Kai, I need your help!" King Kai opened his eyes in surprise, as he didn't expect Goku's visit in the middle of his rest, but he still looked at him with curiosity. "What do you need, Goku?" "You see, I want to revive my father Bardock. I feel he still has a lot to teach me, and I'd like to train with him, but I don't know if it's possible given all the time that has passed. That's why I wanted to get your opinion." Due to what Goku had just said, King Kai sighed a little, as he knew the request wouldn't be easy to fulfill. "That is something complicated, Goku, but perhaps Shenron can help you if you ask him in the right way." "So how would that work then?" "Maybe if you ask Shenron to first restore your father's body before completely reviving him. It might be simpler for Shenron to bring him back to life." "So, it is possible. Thanks, King Kai. I needed to be sure of that." Without wasting any time, Goku bid farewell to King Kai and teleported back to Earth, as he needed to gather the Dragon Balls to complete his task of reviving his father. Due to his great speed, it didn't take him long to gather all the Dragon Balls, and once he had them collected, he summoned Shenron. "Appear, Shenron. I want you to grant my wish." After saying those words, Shenron began to emerge from the balls with a great flash, and the sky began to darken. When he finally manifested in his full form, he would ask his typical question.
"Very well. What is your wish?"
"Shenron, I wish for my father Bardock to come back to life, but I know it's been a long time since his death, so restore his body first to make it possible to revive him," Goku said with joy.
"It will take me a couple of minutes, but that's fine. I can do it."
After saying that, Shenron's eyes began to glow intensely as he worked to fulfill the wish that had been asked. After a few moments, Bardock appeared wrapped in a bright light in front of Goku. He stood admiring how his father gradually appeared as the light dissipated. When he finally appeared completely, Bardock looked quite confused and somewhat agitated by where he was. Additionally, he felt disoriented upon seeing Goku, as he looked too much like him. "Where am I? What's going on?" Goku only smiled at Bardock's question, as he was glad to see his father back. "It's great to finally see you in person. I've heard a lot about you." Bardock looked at him with amazement and some nostalgia, as despite all the time that had passed, he quickly recognized the person standing in front of him. He knew perfectly well that it was his son. "Kakarot? I can't believe it. What are you doing here?" Bardock said, calling him by his Saiyan name with a tone of astonishment. "You must be quite confused right now, but I brought you back because I want to get to know you better, and especially to train with you," Goku replied, with a mixture of respect and affection in his voice. Bardock nodded while showing a slight smile of pride, feeling an immediate connection with his son. Even though Bardock at that moment wasn't capable of sensing ki like Goku, he could feel that his son had become very strong. "I'd love that, Kakarot. But first, tell me everything that has happened since my death. It would be interesting to know what fate has had in store for you." "Sure, that sounds like a good idea." After saying that, Goku and Bardock sat down and started talking. Goku told him about his adventures since he arrived on Earth, the battles against powerful enemies, and his friends. Bardock listened attentively, impressed by his son's feats, with the battle against Frieza being the one that interested him the most, as he liked the idea that his son had defeated that tyrant. I'm more than surprised by everything you've said. I'm really proud of you, Kakarot, said Bardock with a smile as he looked at his son. Honestly, I'm glad you think that. So, you want me to train with you, right? That's right. I'd like to show you what I've learned during this time, and I'm also interested in knowing how strong you were in the past. Goku responded with excitement. What do you say, father? Shall we train together then? Bardock nodded enthusiastically. Of course. It'll be fun to train with you. And I have the perfect place for us to do it properly. We'll go to the hyperbolic time chamber. The hyperbolic time chamber? That's right. 1 day outside equals a year in there. Very well. I suppose I could advance faster that way. With that, Goku took his father to Kami's lookout, where the entrance to the time chamber was located. Upon arrival, they were greeted by Mr. Popo, who welcomed them, especially Goku's father. After that, Goku and Bardock entered the hyperbolic time chamber with determination. Upon crossing the door, they found themselves in a vast white space, with extreme weather and an endless floor. Even Bardock felt his body heavier than usual, as the gravity was greater in there. Alright, father, let's begin the training, Goku said, adopting a fighting stance. Bardock mimicked him, feeling the excitement of battle course through his veins as he began to stretch a bit to get used to the gravity. I'll have to put in some effort because of the gravity, but I'm ready, Kakarot. Show me what you've got. After saying that, the training began immediately. Bardock lunged to deliver the first attack against Goku. To demonstrate his strength to his son, Goku quickly blocked his father's punch, showcasing his great reflexes. Wow, you're fast, father! Goku exclaimed as he blocked Bardock's blow. And you're strong, Kakarot! You've improved much more than I expected. With that first blow, Goku got a good idea of how strong his father had been in those times when enemies weren't as powerful as they are now. He now understood how his father had managed to defeat Gas in their first fight. After that first exchange of blows, both Saiyans increased their power, unleashing more complex techniques and movements. Bardock couldn't avoid his son's attacks, as Goku was too strong for him. Because of that, he quickly pulled back, only to then charge a powerful energy attack in one of his hands. Impressive, Kakarot! But now it's my turn, Bardock said, focusing his energy attack, which he quickly launched at Goku. Because of this, Goku quickly used one of his special attacks. Watch this! Kamehameha! Goku shouted, launching his famous energy attack. Goku's Kamehameha made Bardock's large energy sphere explode, causing a blast that shook the ground beneath their feet, making Bardock cover himself but remain firm. Wow, I didn't think you could do something like that, Bardock said as he regained his balance. But I can tell you're holding back, so come on, show me more of what you've learned, Kakarot. After all, this training is for both of us to improve. Bardock responded with a somewhat serious look while smiling. Goku only got into position to gather his energies, causing his aura to gradually increase until it became intense. Alright, then admire this. A powerful flash was released from Goku's body, making his aura grow larger, causing Bardock to have difficulty seeing him while Goku transformed. After a few moments, Bardock could see that Goku's hair and eyes had changed color, along with a very powerful yellow aura. It can't be. Is that? Bardock asked, very astonished, as Goku's appearance was identical to the legend of the Super Saiyan. That's right, this is the Super Saiyan. Incredible. I've never felt so much power, Bardock said, feeling Goku's energy coursing through the air. But this is just the beginning, father. Let's keep training, Goku exclaimed enthusiastically. Despite the clear difference in power, Bardock was determined to continue to improve his strength. Then let's do it. The two launched at each other again and clashed in the air, creating a massive explosion that shook the time chamber. Their blows struck one another at first, but even while Goku held back, Bardock had a hard time seeing the movements Goku made, not to mention he couldn't withstand Goku's blows. Because of this, they both decided to take a brief break to recover. While resting, Goku and Bardock talked about their techniques and strategies, sharing knowledge and experiences. You've truly become a great warrior. I couldn't understand most of what you were doing, Bardock said while recovering from the combat. Honestly, this fight helped me see your combat style. I must say you fight very well. It's clear you have experience from many past battles. Maybe you're right, but it's not enough. I want to become stronger now that I have the chance. After resting for a while, Bardock got up again, ready to resume the training with renewed energy. Come on, son. Show me your strongest form. I want to see how far I am in terms of strength. If that's what you want, then I will. Due to Bardock's request, Goku began to rise into the air as he was about to release a massive amount of energy to transform. In this way, Goku began to unleash all his power, causing everything around him to tremble, even shattering the ground with just the air he released. The pressure he emitted was tremendous, unlike anything Bardock had ever seen. However, that massive amount of energy was disrupting the time chamber functionality without them realizing it, causing the entrance to become damaged and unusable, and the time flow to stop functioning as before. In short, they were trapped in the hyperbolic time chamber. Finally, Goku finished unleashing all that power, sending Bardock flying a bit away due to Goku's immense power. When he saw him again, Bardock saw that Goku had silver hair and eyes, giving him a very imposing appearance. This is Ultra Instinct, my most powerful form. Incredible. This feels like I'm facing some kind of divine being. You're not far from reality. This power is used by angels. As Goku started to return to the ground, he noticed that the room started to get strange, as the place was changing its atmosphere to one of a different color. Plus, the door disappeared completely when he turned to look at it. After Goku managed to demonstrate his true power to Bardock, the functioning of the hyperbolic time chamber had been completely altered, causing the door to disappear entirely. Because of this, they both tried to make the door reappear several times, but without success. Finally, Goku gave up, as it didn't seem like he could restore the time chamber. Looks like we're trapped here, Goku said, looking at Bardock with some concern. Is there really no way out, Kakarot? Bardock asked, beginning to understand the gravity of the situation. It seems that way, and honestly, I don't know how long we'll be stuck here. I wouldn't want to ruin the time chamber completely by trying to fix it. I see, but if there's nothing we can do, we should at least make the most of this. Bardock responded with determination. Are you serious? Of course. In a way, this situation gives us a chance to spend more time together. Not to mention that we can train, Bardock said, trying to find something positive in such a complicated situation. Goku nodded at what his father had said, realizing they had no other choice but to make the most of this moment. With that in mind, both Saiyans decided to continue their training, determined to use all the time they had to improve their abilities. Thus, their near-eternal training began, day after day, which were actually year after year for them. Goku and Bardock continued fighting and enhancing their skills. The relationship between father and son grew stronger as they shared techniques, strategies, and knowledge. Goku taught his father the fundamentals of combat so he could improve his fighting style, teaching him to control his own ki so he could sense the energy of others without needing a machine like a scouter. Thanks to Goku's teachings, Bardock quickly learned to master his energy, significantly improving his strength. After showing him all that, they moved on to the next phase of their training, which was to achieve the first form of Super Saiyan. At first, it was a bit challenging for Bardock, since reaching that state was a new sensation. However, Bardock carefully observed Goku and learned from him, knowing that rage was necessary to awaken the transformation. Bardock simply had to recall the memories of when he lost his life to the tyrant Frieza, which finally allowed him to unlock the full power of the Super Saiyan. A strong and intense aura surrounded Bardock, who at that moment was impressed with the power increase brought by the transformation. Incredible, Father! You've reached Super Saiyan! Goku said, amazed. Thanks, Kakarot. I couldn't have done it without your help. Bardock responded with a smile. But I'm aware that this is just the beginning, so we can't stop now. Show me more of the power we Saiyans have. Goku felt even more excited hearing his father's words. It was clear that Bardock was a true warrior, eager to grow stronger. After that, their training continued with intensity. Bardock felt motivated by the progress he was making while fighting his son, so he pushed himself to the limit to keep improving. Goku guided and supported him every step of the way, demonstrating tireless patience and dedication. After that, they continued their hard training in the time chamber, with the goal of helping Bardock master the various transformations. Time kept passing in the chamber, accelerating their progress since they spent more years than they could perceive. For some reason, However, time didn't affect their ages, as if they were frozen in time in some way, which was fortunate, as they could continue training without the risk of dying. Bardock didn't take long to accumulate enough power to unlock his next transformation, Super Saiyan 2. After achieving that, they moved on to one of the most complicated transformations, one that not many had achieved, Super Saiyan 3. This form required more than just physical effort. It also demanded a strong and determined mindset. At that moment, Bardock was making a great effort to reach this form. You could even see the veins in his body bulging as his hair shone constantly. Goku was watching him closely to guide him and help him succeed, as Bardock was close to achieving it. "Come on, father! I know you can do it!" he said, encouraging Bardock as he tried to transform. Bardock continued raising his power to the limit, pushing his body to reach the transformation, letting out powerful roars from the effort. Suddenly, Bardock's hair started to grow a little, and at that moment, he released a massive amount of power, making his hair grow even longer. In this way, Bardock finally achieved Super Saiyan 3. The transformation was impressive, and his power was immense, with energy bolts surrounding him along with a tremendous aura. Goku was surprised and excited to see that his father had achieved Super Saiyan 3, as his appearance was incredible. "You did it, father!" Goku said with admiration. "Thanks, Kakarot. Honestly, I didn't expect to achieve it. It was a rush of adrenaline," Bardock responded, feeling somewhat tired from the effort he had just made to reach that form. "Now you just have to get used to it. That transformation drains a lot of energy. Can you handle that?" "Of course I can. Don't underestimate your father," Bardock said, smiling with excitement. From that moment on, Bardock continued training to master the Super Saiyan 3 form so that it wouldn't consume so much energy when he used it. The time chamber made the years continue to pass, during which Bardock spent day after day improving his control over that transformation. After a few years, Bardock managed to perfect the use of Super Saiyan 3, something Goku hadn't yet mastered, as he had been focusing on his divine forms. In fact, now that Bardock had mastered that state, it was time for Goku to teach his father how to control Divine Ki, so they could move on to even more powerful forms. Training for divine energy wouldn't be easy, as it was a power akin to that of a god, something Bardock was completely unfamiliar with, since until then, he had only known regular Ki for transformations. So after that, Goku showed his father the Super Saiyan God form, which left Bardock completely stunned because he couldn't perceive the power that Goku was emitting. But somehow he could sense how imposing the presence of Super Saiyan God was compared to the third form. To help Bardock understand the difference in Divine Ki, Goku made him fight against him, as it was the fastest way for him to learn. From that moment on, they would continue battling each other daily in the time chamber. Those days spent training were actually years, so their progress was both rapid and significant. Thanks to all those battles, Bardock was able to learn how to use divine energy like Goku, thus achieving Super Saiyan God, and, eventually, he was able to access Super Saiyan Blue as well. Every transformation Bardock achieved was a monumental accomplishment and demonstrated his immense potential. "Wow, Father, you've exceeded all expectations. You're more dedicated to this than I am," Goku said with pride. "I can't believe you've had to go through this kind of training for so long. The one who should be surprised is me," Bardock responded with a smile. Despite all the challenges of being trapped in the time chamber, both Saiyans made great progress over the years they spent inside. But aside from all their training, each battle, every technique, and every moment they shared strengthened the bond between the two. "Father, now that you can transform into the blue form, I've been thinking of a new technique. What do you think about combining our attacks?" Goku suggested during a training session. "I know we usually like to fight on our own, but I'm curious to see the results of this." "Well, I suppose we don't lose anything by trying, Kakarot, so let's do it," Bardock responded with enthusiasm. After that, they both aligned themselves to be in sync, ready to test out a combined technique that merged Goku's Kamehameha with Bardock's final spirit cannon. Both transformed into Super Saiyan Blue at the same time, causing their auras to grow suddenly in size, surrounded by lightning due to the overflow of their power. Then, They both began charging their respective energy attacks to combine them into one. In an instant, they released all that energy forward, letting it merge to form a very powerful attack. Goku's Kamehameha traveled in a straight line, while Bardock's final spirit cannon, being an energy sphere, spun rapidly around the Kamehameha. The result was a devastating attack that combined the strength and precision of both warriors. When the attack struck the ground of the time chamber, a tremendous explosion shook the infinite space. Even Goku was surprised by the result of that technique. "Wow, that was amazing!" Goku exclaimed, marveling at the power of their combined technique. "It really was. I've become stronger than I ever thought possible." Bardock responded with a satisfied smile. After unleashing such a tremendous attack, the two took a moment to rest after their intense training. Bardock glanced at Goku, his expression turning a bit more serious. "You know, I wish I had this strength when the planet was attacked by Frieza. Maybe then, planet Vegeta wouldn't have been destroyed, and we could have spent more time together," Bardock said, recalling the moment he was killed defending planet Vegeta, and how he sent Kakarot to Earth as a baby. Goku looked at his father intently, feeling moved by his words. "But despite everything that happened, I don't regret sending you to Earth. It gave you a better life. I want you to know how proud I am of you. You've accomplished incredible things and helped me reach levels of power I never thought possible." Goku smiled at his father's heartfelt words, feeling a deep connection with them. "Thank you, but none of what I accomplished would have been possible without you and everything you did. You're an inspiration to me." Bardock nodded, clearly touched by his son's words. "You're right, but the best thing now is to keep moving forward, Kakarot. There's still so much more to discover and learn." After a good rest, both of them stood up, ready to resume their training once more. They felt more inspired than ever to keep pushing themselves to see what they were truly capable of. Now that they both had mastered their divine forms, it was time to test each other again. Taking their combat stances, they prepared for their next challenge. "Don't hold back this time, Kakarot. Give me a real fight." "Alright, then get ready, because here I come." At that moment, the bond between father and son was stronger than ever. They both smiled at each other, their gazes locked. Now, one of the toughest battles between father and son was about to begin, pushing them to their limits once again. After the intense training between Goku and Bardock in the hyperbolic time chamber, they had finally reached unimaginable levels, especially for Bardock, who never expected to achieve all those Super Saiyan transformations. Both warriors had explored and mastered each of their transformations, pushing them to the limit, so the time had finally come for a showdown in their Super Saiyan Blue forms. Bardock, with his radiant blue aura, looked at his son with determination. "Kakarot, this will be our most intense battle. Show me the power of this blue form," Bardock said, assuming a fighting stance. Goku, also transformed into Super Saiyan Blue, smiled with excitement. "Of course, father. Let's give it everything we've got," he responded, preparing for the battle. After those final words, the fight began with an explosion of speed and power as both Saiyans launched themselves at each other to deliver the first strike. It was clear that they were moving so fast that they were barely visible or perceptible. The blows echoed like thunder, and energy explosions illuminated the time chamber. Everything seemed evenly matched in this brief opening, as they managed to dodge and block each other's strikes. "You're incredibly fast, father!" Goku exclaimed as he dodged an attack. "And you're incredibly strong, Kakarot!" Bardock responded, blocking a blow with his arm. The intensity of the battle was impressive, as both Saiyans exchanged attacks with extraordinary precision and speed. Every move and technique was executed flawlessly, showcasing the incredible skill and experience of both warriors. In one of those exchanges of blows, the impact made both of them step back, creating some distance between them. But instead of wasting time, they quickly charged their energy attacks and launched them instantly. "Kamehameha!" Goku shouted, unleashing his powerful energy attack. "Final Spirit Cannon!" Bardock quickly responded, doing the same to counter his son's attack. Both techniques shot through the air at high speed, flashing mid-air and creating a massive explosion that shook the entire chamber. The force of the blast pushed both warriors back, but they stood their ground, watching to see whose attack would prevail. "Don't hold back, Kakarot! Give me everything you've got!" Bardock exclaimed, increasing his power to enhance the strength of his energy attack. "Alright, father! Let's go all out!" Goku responded, pushing his energy to the max, making his Kamehameha grow in size. The ground trembled beneath their feet, and the air vibrated with the immense energy they were unleashing. After a few moments, both attacks gave way and exploded, causing a massive shockwave and generating a thick cloud of smoke. But once again, that didn't stop the two Saiyans, who teleported several times to close the gap between them, not planning on taking a single break in this father-son duel. When they clashed again, their blows echoed like thunder, and explosions lit up the vast white space of the time chamber. It was clear that both Saiyans were giving it their all, pushing their abilities to the limit. "You have so much potential, Kakarot! You never cease to amaze me!" Bardock exclaimed as he blocked one of the many blows Goku was throwing. "And you have an incredible fighting spirit! You're truly a warrior, father!" Goku responded as he continued to unleash a flurry of rapid punches while simultaneously blocking his father's attacks. The battle became even fiercer as the minutes passed, with their strikes so powerful that the ground beneath them cracked, and the energy explosions released bright flashes throughout the time chamber. Their speed had reached such heights that they were now impossible to perceive, both continuously growing stronger and learning more about themselves. It was evident that Goku had a better mastery of the Super Saiyan Blue form, as his energy consumption was much lower than Bardock's, who had only recently learned to use this form without tiring. But he needed to take it to the next level if he wanted to progress. At a certain moment, both grabbed each other's fists, locking their punches in place, and it was clear that both were struggling to hold back the force of their attacks. Their arms trembled from the effort it took to contain each other's fists due to the immense strength and power they both possessed. "Just as I expected from you, son. You don't give in easily. I can say the same. You never back down from your opponent." After those brief comments, Goku unleashed more power than Bardock, causing him to release Goku's fists under the intense pressure of his energy. In that small moment of distraction, Goku took advantage and landed a powerful punch to Bardock's stomach, making him gasp from the force. But instead of backing off, Bardock gathered all the strength he could in one of his arms, clenched his fist, and returned the punch to Goku in the same spot. The impact made Goku tremble from the sheer power behind the blow. Despite this, Goku gave a slight smile, happy that the battle wasn't going to be easy. "This is only getting more interesting." Bardock showed a bit more confidence in response to Goku's words, knowing that the rhythm of the fight was only improving. After this exchange, their strikes became so powerful that blocking them was incredibly difficult, resulting in both receiving several blows to their bodies. This gradually tore their outfits and left noticeable scratches on their faces. Their ability to adapt to the fight was remarkable, and it only grew with the advantages offered by the time chamber. Their fierce battles seemed to have no end, despite the exhaustion they were feeling from the intensity of the fight. Both continued for a long time until they were completely worn out, lying on the ground, severely injured. It was clear that both had succumbed to the exhaustion of the battle, so they decided to take a good rest to recover. While resting on the ground, Goku and Bardock took the opportunity to talk a little about how they felt after their fight. "You're a great warrior, father. I've learned so much from you in this time we've spent together. Everything I've been told about you has been more than true," Goku said with admiration as he was still catching his breath. After a few minutes of rest, Goku gathered enough energy to sit up and looked at his father with a satisfied smile. "And you've shown me that you're a son worthy of a Saiyan, just as I expected from you, Kakarot." Bardock responded with pride as he also lifted himself slightly off the ground to sit up like his son. Due to his father's words, Goku stood up at that moment and approached Bardock, extending his hand to help him up. Bardock accepted the gesture, and as they stood, both Saiyans looked at each other with mutual respect. After that, they took full advantage of the time to let their bodies heal completely, which didn't take long since time worked differently in the chamber. Once they had recovered, they decided to resume training. This place has allowed us to go beyond our limits, but there are still things I need to show you, Father. That's true, and to be honest, I'm eager to see what else you've got to show me. Goku, with a serious but enthusiastic expression, said, "You'll see, there's a technique I've recently mastered. It goes beyond the Super Saiyan Blue transformation. It's called Ultra Instinct." At that moment, Bardock frowned at Goku's statement, intrigued by what he had just said. Ultra Instinct? What kind of technique is that? It's a state that goes beyond mere power. It's not just brute strength, but a way to free the mind and body. Let's just say it allows you to move and react without thinking, as if your body moves on its own. A state where the body acts purely on instinct? Bardock asked, trying to grasp the magnitude of what his son was explaining. Exactly! It's not easy to reach or maintain, but once you do, your power elevates to a completely new level. It's something that can't be taught in the traditional sense. You have to experience it yourself, feel it, and let your body understand it. Bardock nodded slowly, processing all the information Goku had shared. Sounds like a challenge worthy of a Saiyan. I'm more than ready to learn it, Kakarot. Goku smiled enthusiastically, thrilled that his father accepted the challenge. Alright, let's begin. You need to clear your mind of any distractions. Don't think about your movements. Just feel the flow of the battle and let your body react on its own. Since it's pretty complex, I'll demonstrate it to you right here. I couldn't do it properly before. With those words, Goku adopted a defensive stance, inviting Bardock to attack him, to test his instincts. Bardock watched him carefully, and in an instant, he launched himself at his son with a series of rapid punches. But just as he did, Goku activated Ultra Instinct, his hair turning a silver hue. He effortlessly dodged Bardock's attacks, leaving Bardock stunned as he noticed a difference in Goku's movements. Kakarot, you're not blocking my attacks. You're just evading them, Bardock said, perplexed by the fluidity of Goku's movements. Exactly, Father. I'm not thinking about how to dodge. I'm just doing it because my body is reacting by instinct, without my mind intervening. That's Ultra Instinct. Goku responded as he continued to dodge Bardock's strikes with ease. Bardock stopped for a moment after launching several blows, now understanding a bit more about how it worked. Alright, Father, now try it yourself. In that moment, Bardock took a deep breath, closing his eyes for a second to focus. When he opened them again, he charged at Goku, trying to abandon his thoughts and let his body act on its own. Goku smiled as he sensed the change in Bardock's energy, realizing that his father was taking it seriously. That's it, Father. Don't rush it. Just feel the flow of the battle. As Goku said this, Bardock threw a punch aimed at Goku's face, but this time his strike was more fluid, less forced. Although Goku dodged it, he could feel the difference in Bardock's technique. Well done, Father. You're starting to understand it. Goku praised Bardock while stepping back to give him space to continue. Bardock breathed deeply, absorbing the new sensation in his body, and charged again, this time without thinking about his next move, allowing his instincts to guide his attacks. His punches and kicks came with surprising speed and precision. Goku defended with the same fluidity, blocking some strikes and dodging others, but he could feel Bardock's progress with each exchange. However, despite Bardock beginning to grasp the concept of Ultra Instinct, his body soon started to tire from trying to access that state and mimic Goku's precise movements. Exhausted, Bardock nearly collapsed to the ground, his breathing heavy. You did great, Father. It's tough to maintain, but you're on the right path. This state, it's unlike anything I've experienced before, Bardock commented, still catching his breath, realizing how his movements had been more natural and less premeditated compared to his usual fighting style. As you've seen, Ultra Instinct isn't just about power, it's about harmony between the mind and body. You don't have to force anything, just let everything flow. Goku explained, watching his father closely before stepping forward and offering his hand to help him stand. But I'm sure you can learn it, just like I did. However, we'll need to push ourselves even harder. This is a state that not even the gods can master easily. Bardock grasped his son's hand and stood up, determination sparking in his eyes. fully embracing the challenge ahead. Then I'll give it everything I've got to learn Ultra Instinct. With both Saiyans in agreement, they were ready to embark on a grueling and intense training regime, aimed at helping Bardock reach the elusive state of Ultra Instinct. Their bond as father and son grew stronger with each challenge they faced, and the road ahead promised even more intense battles as they worked together to break their limits. After an intense battle between the two Saiyans in their blue form, Goku and Bardock had begun training to master Ultra Instinct, which would be the last thing to conquer in that room of time. After Bardock's first attempt to use Ultra Instinct, the two began dedicating all their time to train in that state, as Bardock still had a long way to go before being able to use it. And because the functioning of the room of time was altered, years continued to pass rapidly, which benefited their progress in honing their abilities. At that moment, Goku and Bardock were fighting, testing what they were learning. Goku was launching a series of quick, precise punches at his father, seeking to test Bardock's reaction speed. The latter was surprised by the sudden offensive, so he tried to react without thinking, letting his body move instinctively. Goku's first strikes were dodged by Bardock, who was beginning to feel how his body was responding on its own. However, as Goku increased his speed and precision, Bardock began to lose his rhythm, feeling the pressure of the fight. "Don't think, just act," Goku reminded him as he continued his relentless assault. Because of his son's words, Bardock closed his eyes for a moment, trying to eliminate any thoughts that could interfere with his movements. When he opened them again, he focused on the flow of the battle, allowing his body to move with the current of energy surrounding them. For a brief moment, Bardock reached a state close to Ultra Instinct, dodging and blocking Goku's attacks with surprising fluidity. Goku noticed the change in his father and smiled with pride. "That's it, Dad! You're getting it!" Goku exclaimed, feeling the excitement of Bardock's progress. However, despite Bardock managing to use a very basic form of Ultra Instinct, maintaining that state was exhausting for him, as he had not yet fully mastered it. After a brief exchange of blows, he felt his energy begin to wane, and he slowly reverted to relying on his mind to guide his movements, losing the Ultra Instinct state. Goku, noticing the change, stepped back to give his father a breather. It was clear that Bardock was breathing heavily, as it was the first time his body had experienced that state. "Don't worry, Dad. You're really close to being able to use it. You just need a little more practice." As Bardock caught his breath, he nodded at his son's words, indicating his agreement. "It's an incredible state, Kakarot, but it's also extremely difficult to maintain. I won't give up until I can use it at will." Goku smiled, seeing the determination in his father's eyes. "I know, and that's why I'm here to help you master it. So, let's keep training until you can maintain Ultra Instinct for longer." After that training session, both Saiyans took a short break to recover their energy before continuing their training. During that time, Goku took the opportunity to explain to Bardock some key concepts he had learned about Ultra Instinct. Remember, Ultra Instinct isn't just about reacting quickly. It's about letting your body act without interference from the conscious mind. It's like becoming one with the flow of battle, allowing every move to be perfect and effortless. Goku explained while Bardock listened carefully. "I see. It's like the body knows what to do without needing to think about it." Bardock responded, trying to absorb the information. "Exactly, but don't worry about mastering it right away. Ultra Instinct is a state achieved with time and practice. The important thing is that you've already taken the first step," Goku said with an encouraging smile. After their break, the two resumed their training. Goku quickly took a defensive stance again, inviting Bardock to attack him. This time, Bardock tried to apply what he had learned from Goku, focusing on clearing his mind and letting his body act on instinct. Moments later, both launched into another exchange of blows, with a much smoother flow. Bardock showed significant improvement in his ability to react without thinking. Though he hadn't fully achieved Ultra Instinct, his movements were much more natural and less forced. Seeing his father's progress, Goku decided to raise the difficulty of the training, moving faster and attacking from unexpected angles to challenge Bardock. "Keep going, Dad. You're improving quickly, Goku said, launching a series of rapid attacks. Bardock, though surprised by Goku's speed, managed to maintain his focus and dodged most of the attacks. However, the pressure of the fight began to take its toll, and he felt his energy depleting again. He's tough, but I can't give up, Bardock murmured to himself as he continued fighting. Noticing his father's efforts, Goku stepped back once again, allowing Bardock to catch his breath. You're doing great, Dad. It's not easy to maintain Ultra Instinct, but you're getting there, Goku said with an encouraging expression. Bardock, though exhausted, nodded with determination. Thanks, Kakarot. I'm not giving up. This state is something I want to master, and I know I can do it. Goku smiled, feeling proud to see his father so determined. I know, Dad, and I'll be here to help you every step of the way. After their brief talk, the training continued for what seemed like days in the Room of Time. Goku and Bardock kept honing their skills, working together to master Ultra Instinct. As time passed, Bardock showed impressive progress, managing to maintain the Ultra Instinct state for longer periods and with greater stability. It was only a matter of time before he could use it at will, as both Goku and Bardock were formidable warriors. Finally, after long, arduous training over several years in the Room of Time, Bardock reached a point where he could maintain Ultra Instinct for a considerable amount of time. His movements were now fluid, precise, and powerful. Although he still had room for improvement, he had made incredible strides. Goku, watching his father in action, felt a deep sense of satisfaction. You've done it, Dad! You've reached a level that few have achieved. Bardock, still in the Ultra Instinct state, looked at his son with a mix of pride and gratitude. Thank you, Kakarot. I couldn't have done it without your help. Having worked together tirelessly to achieve the Ultra Instinct state, and after so much time training, they were ready to test their abilities in one final showdown. Goku, with a calm but determined look, broke the silence. Father, I feel now is the perfect time to put everything we've learned to the test. We've come so far, but we need to see how it really feels to fight in this state. That way, you'll master it in this fight. Bardock nodded firmly at Goku's words. I agree, Kakarot. There's no better way to measure our progress than in real combat. This time, I won't hold back. Goku smiled, feeling the thrill of the challenge ahead. Neither will I, Dad. Let's give it everything we've got. Both Saiyans took their combat stances, their bodies relaxed yet ready to move in any direction at the perfect moment. The air around them began to thrum with the energy of their auras, fluctuating almost imperceptibly, a reflection of the perfect harmony between mind and body. The silence was broken by a sudden movement, as both accessed the Ultra Instinct state, their hair turning completely silver. Goku rushed forward at incredible speed toward Bardock, initiating the battle. Bardock reacted instantly, with Ultra Instinct guiding his actions without the interference of his conscious mind. He dodged Goku's first punch with a smooth movement and countered with a fist aimed at his son's abdomen. Sensing the flow of the fight, Goku twisted his body to deflect the attack, barely grazing Bardock's fist while his own legs swung upward for a swift kick. Anticipating the move, Bardock leaped into the air, evading the kick and responding with a ki blast fired from his outstretched hand. But Goku, in a fluid motion, raised his hand and redirected the blast skyward, where it exploded harmlessly. There was barely time for the sound of the explosion to fade before Bardock was upon him again, launching a flurry of quick, precise strikes that Goku deflected with the same seamless grace. Incredible, Father! Exclaimed Goku, admiring the perfection of Bardock's movements as he blocked a punch aimed at his head. The impact echoed around them, but neither showed any signs of giving in. Bardock didn't respond with words. Instead, he intensified his attacks, fully allowing his instincts to take control. His movements were fast, precise, each flowing into the next like a deadly dance. Goku, feeling the pressure, increased his own pace, responding to every attack with perfect defense, countering each strike with equal ferocity. The exchange was dizzying. A series of punches, kicks, and energy blasts happening in fractions of a second. Both moved so quickly that they vanished and reappeared across the room of time, colliding with each other in a stunning display of pure power and absolute control. Despite the equality in their abilities, Goku began to notice that Bardock was reaching his limits. Although Bardock had managed to use Ultra Instinct at will, Goku's experience and mastery over the state still surpassed that of his father. Bardock's movements, though still fluid and precise, began to show slight signs of strain. Sensing this, Goku decided to push the battle to its climax, aiming to help Bardock break through his limits. His blows became faster and more powerful, forcing Bardock into constant evasion and defense, causing him to gradually lose ground. "Don't stop maintaining Ultra Instinct! Push beyond to truly master it!" Goku shouted as he delivered a punch to Bardock's stomach, followed by a powerful descending kick that struck with force. Bardock, still in Ultra Instinct, felt the impact reverberate through his body as he was sent flying back, but he managed to recover mid-air, landing with his feet firmly planted on the ground. His breathing was heavy, but his determination remained unshaken. "You're incredible, Kakarot," Bardock admitted as he tried to steady his breathing. He knew his son had reached a level beyond his own, but instead of feeling defeated, he was filled with pride and respect for the warrior he had raised. Goku, seeing the look in Bardock's eyes, smiled. "Thanks, Dad, but you've come so far. Don't stop now." Bardock, still catching his breath, nodded, his determination reigniting. Though he was nearing his physical limits, he refused to give up. With one final burst of energy, he charged at Goku, his body moving in perfect harmony with his instincts, pushing himself to his absolute peak. The two clashed once more, their movements synchronized in a final, intense exchange of blows, neither willing to back down. Goku, sensing that the battle was nearing its end, charged towards his father once more. Bardock was visibly exhausted, as his silver hair seemed to be returning to its normal color, but he decided to keep fighting. With every ounce of willpower, he tried to match his son's movements, but this time, the difference in their powers became evident. Suddenly, Bardock's hair once again turned a brilliant silver, and with a swift and determined motion, he launched himself at Goku. In an instant, he spun on his axis, landing a powerful elbow to his son's side, followed by a spinning kick that sent Goku crashing to the ground with force. Goku hit the ground, his body trembling slightly from the powerful blow. After delivering that tremendous attack, Bardock also collapsed to the ground, his hair still silver, but his strength had left him, and his legs shook from the effort. Yet, a smile of satisfaction appeared on his face. Goku got back to his feet and approached Bardock, breathing deeply but with an expression of respect and admiration. He extended his hand towards Bardock, as he had done before, offering to help him up. "Father, you fought incredibly well. You're a true Saiyan warrior. I didn't expect you to hit me like that," Goku said sincerely, helping Bardock to his feet. Bardock accepted his son's hand and stood up with effort, but with his head held high. "Kakarot, you're the one who has reached true greatness. It's been an honor to fight by your side." At that moment, both Saiyans stood facing each other, sharing a moment of respect for their battle. After a brief silence, they decided to end their training for the day. However, from that moment on, they continued to fight year after year in the hyperbolic time chamber, which did not affect their age or have any other consequences. Thanks to this, they both managed to master Ultra Instinct at an unprecedented level, adapting that doctrine to their own fighting styles, not to mention the immense power they had gained. Then, on one of those days, Goku looked around, sensing that the time in the time chamber had finally come to an end, as the room was returning to normal, causing the entrance to reappear. "Father, I think it's time to leave this place. We've learned and grown so much here, but it's time to return to the outside world." Bardock nodded, feeling the same. "You're right, Kakarot. It feels like we've spent an eternity here. It's time to see how much we've changed. With a smile, Goku began walking toward the door of the room, which had remained closed for what felt like thousands of years. As they approached, Bardock felt a mix of emotions. They had trained, fought, and overcome obstacles together in this place, and now they were leaving with newfound strength and knowledge. Goku opened the door, and the blinding white light of the room began to fade, replaced by the familiar glow of the outside world. As they stepped out, Bardock felt fresh, real air for the first time in what felt like forever. His senses filled with renewed clarity, and a feeling of renewal ran through him. Both Saiyans stepped out of the hyperbolic time chamber, their bodies quickly adapting once more to the real world. Goku took a deep breath, feeling the vibrant energy of life around him. We've come out stronger, and now I think you're ready to see everything beyond Earth. Bardock looked at his son, feeling deep pride for the man he had become. That sounds good, Kakarot. I want to see everything I missed during this time. Goku smiled, nodding enthusiastically. Just wait until you meet the strong people I've come across. With those words, Goku and Bardock began walking, leaving the hyperbolic time chamber behind, but carrying with them the power and knowledge they had gained. As they moved forward, both knew that, no matter what the future held, they would be ready to face it together, as father and son, as Saiyan warriors. Once Goku and Bardock completed their training in the time chamber, they left that place and felt more than renewed as they saw the sunrise once again after so long spent fighting. As Goku had promised his father to show him everything he had missed while he was dead, the two quickly flew away from the place, since Goku wanted to introduce his father to all the friends he had made throughout his life. It didn't take long before they reached Capsule Corporation, where most of Goku's friends were usually found. Bardock looked around attentively, as the place was both impressive and new to him. This place is impressive, Bardock murmured, paying close attention to his surroundings, as this was technically his first real contact with Earth and its people since he had been brought back to life. Goku simply started walking as his father followed him, having sensed some of his friends' energy nearby. I really want you to meet my companions. They've been my support in every one of the battles I told you about while we were training. By the way you talk about them, it must be true. As they walked, Bardock felt a mix of pride and curiosity about what Goku was saying, as he had heard a lot about his son's companions while they were in the time chamber, and he knew they were strong people. But above all, what intrigued Bardock most was a name Goku had mentioned several times during their training, that of the god of destruction, Beerus. Bardock hadn't heard much about Beerus when he worked for Frieza's army, but that title of god made him sound quite formidable. After walking for a while through Capsule Corporation, Goku finally spotted his companions, including Krillin, Piccolo, Vegeta, Gohan, Bulma, along with Beerus and Whis, who were eating as usual. When they noticed Goku's arrival, they all turned with expressions of surprise, realizing that someone else was beside him. That caught everyone's attention, as his appearance was quite similar to Goku's, leading them to make several assumptions. In fact, Vegeta furrowed his brow as he looked closely at Bardock, since aside from being identical to Goku, he somehow felt familiar to him. For that reason, Vegeta was the first to speak, his gaze fixed on Bardock. Kakarot, tell us, is this man who I think he is? Vegeta asked in a rough voice. Goku nodded at Vegeta's question with his usual smile, as he was right. That's right, Vegeta. I think you already noticed, but just to be sure, I'll tell everyone. This here is my father, Bardock. I've finally brought him back to life. After saying that, silence fell over the area as everyone processed what Goku had just revealed. Piccolo, for his part, simply crossed his arms, nodding with an almost imperceptible smile. Honestly, it's not much of a surprise. They look too much alike not to have guessed it. I agree. He also looks a lot like the way that Namekian called Monaito described him when he was with Granola. I suppose that's true, but I still thought it would surprise you. Bardock looked at Vegeta for a few moments, as it was also obvious that he was the son of King Vegeta, who had died a long time ago. So, you're the prince. You look a lot like your father. So I've heard, but honestly, I'm not too interested in that. While they were talking, Gohan was watching Bardock with an expression of surprise, and he stepped forward to take a closer look at his grandfather.
So, if what my dad says is true, does that mean you're my grandfather?
Gohan asked with some timidity, as he wasn't sure if it was appropriate to call Bardock that. Bardock looked closely at Gohan before answering, realizing that he was also a Saiyan, so he quickly deduced that he was Goku's son, whom he had also heard about before. Because of this, Bardock gave a slight smile and decided to reply. That's right, and you must be Gohan. Kakarot has told me a lot about you.
It's honestly a huge surprise to meet you, since I haven't heard anything about you.
Well, that makes sense after what Kakarot told me about his head injury when he arrived on Earth. But if you want to know about me, I can tell you. While Bardock said this to Gohan, he sensed a great energy within him, realizing that he also possessed considerable strength. Seeing you in front of me, I can tell you have the strength of a true warrior. You really are a Saiyan descendant, Bardock said, showing pride in Gohan. Gohan smiled at Bardock's words, pleased to hear his opinion of him. Meanwhile, Krillin just looked confused, with a nervous smile on his face.
This is incredible! I've known Goku for so long, but seeing his father is something I never thought possible. I have to agree, this was so sudden. I'll never stop being amazed at how quickly things change when Goku's around, but I'm glad everything turned out well,
Krillin said, letting out a sigh of relief. Meanwhile, Bulma observed everything with her usual curiosity and walked toward Bardock, examining every detail of his appearance.
So you're Goku's dad. I have to say, although you look a lot like Goku, you have a tougher style. I guess it's from growing up with other Saiyans.
Bardock sketched a faint smile at Bulma's comment, although he was not very used to the familiarity with which those Earthlings treated him. He decided to answer. You're right, but from what I see, life here on Earth is different, since Kakarot has quite a different personality. In a way, I'm glad it turned out that way, since I've really enjoyed my time on Earth. During their conversation, Piccolo decided to interrupt them a bit to speak while maintaining his usual distance. It's truly impressive that you managed to bring your father back, Goku, but I imagine you didn't do it just to introduce him, right? As perceptive as always, Piccolo, and you're right. We also have a lot to show you, Goku responded enthusiastically. My father and I have reached power levels we never imagined, since we trained together in the hyperbolic time chamber, where we were locked up for thousands of years. They were all surprised to hear this, as they had not imagined that they had spent so much time training in the time chamber. This even made Beerus and Whis look their way, as they had been concentrating on their food earlier. Vegeta watched them with an expression of annoyance and surprise, as it was likely that the two of them had surpassed their own power. Kakarot, always full of surprises. I'm sure you've exceeded your powers again, but I wonder how strong your father has become, and if he's truly up to the challenges we face nowadays. Bardock smirked slightly, understanding the challenging tone in Vegeta's words. Don't worry, Prince Vegeta. I've been catching up, Bardock said with a small sarcastic and challenging tone, as Vegeta still had no idea of his new power. At that moment, Beerus, the god of destruction, approached them slowly with Whis floating beside him, who had a smile on his face after finishing his meal. Well, well, Beerus said while scratching his chin. So this Saiyan here is your father. How interesting. Goku stepped forward, a smile of excitement on his face. That's right, Lord Beerus. And as I mentioned recently, he's been training with me in the time chamber. Yes, I heard that. That's why I find it interesting, because I can sense a different energy in both of you. Besides, it's been a long time since I've seen Saiyans from the time of Frieza's rule. Whis, always kind and curious, took a step forward.
In any case, it's a pleasure to meet you. You must be aware of many of your son Goku's achievements by now.
That's right, and you must be the angel who trained him, right?
Indeed, I am. Is it that obvious?
I'd say so. I could sense it in your energy.
Really? Have you also learned to sense divine ki?
Exactly, because I learned to wield the power you all use. Or at least, that's what Kakarot told me. Whis showed surprise at Bardock's words, as this could only mean one thing. Bardock had also mastered Ultra Instinct.
Really? Were you actually able to use Ultra Instinct?
Actually, I took it to the next level, thanks to Kakarot. This news surprised Whis, while Beerus grew more intrigued by the power of both Saiyans.
That's quite an accomplishment in the divine realm. My sincerest congratulations.
Thank you. I don't know much about the gods, but I can say that your power is immense as well.
Yes, but with all that said, do you think you've become strong enough to challenge me?
Beerus spoke in a playful tone, though there was a curiosity hidden behind his words. Knowing Beerus' nature, Goku quickly intervened.
Lord Beerus, are you sure you want to do that? He just came back from the hyperbolic time chamber, and I'm not sure if you really want to.
At that moment, Bardock raised his hand to interrupt his son.
It's fine, Kakarot. I didn't come back just to sit idly by. If this god wants to see what I'm capable of, then I have no intention of turning him down.
Beerus let out a soft laugh at Bardock's response.
Wise of you. I wonder if you'll have the same resolve when it's time to fight.
After saying this, Beerus turned his gaze to Whis.
All right, Whis, let's go. I wouldn't want to cause a scene here on Earth, so let's head to my planet.
Whis nodded with a slight bow.
Of course, Lord Beerus.
As Whis prepared to transport them, Goku and Bardock looked toward the others to say their farewells.
See you later, everyone. We have to take care of this. It was nice meeting you all.
They said this while raising their arms, as they still wanted to get to know each other better. Once they were ready, everyone gathered around Whis to begin their journey to Beerus' planet. In an instant, a brilliant light surrounded them, and they left the place. Goku and Bardock were eager to test their strength against the God of Destruction himself, as it would give them a good sense of their current level. Now, a great and fierce battle awaited them, where they would demonstrate how they had transcended the Ultra Instinct form. Whis made a slight gesture with his hand, and in the blink of an eye, the group was transported to Beerus' planet. The floating stone ground and the endless purple sky gave the place an unreal touch, as if space-time itself behaved differently here. Once again, the imposing presence of Beerus and Whis enveloped them. Goku, always alert to energies, was the first to sense their return. The figure of the God of Destruction appeared with a calm indifference, while Whis, with his typical carefree air, floated beside him.
Well, I think it's time for you to show me the results of your thousands of years training in the Room of Spirit and Time.
Beerus said this with a confident smile.
It's been a while since we fought. I'm intrigued to see what you're capable of now, so I want both of you to face me at the same time.
Goku felt excited about the challenge that awaited him, so he looked at Bardock, who had a slight frown, aware of what was coming. It was the first time his father would face a being of Beerus' magnitude, and Goku knew that Bardock was eager to measure his new power against that of a god.
Here, we'll have all the freedom to fight, so don't hold back,
Beerus commented while stretching his arms and casually walking around the terrain. Bardock, who had barely had time to process his arrival on Earth, was now on Beerus' planet, observed his surroundings closely. The air on Beerus' planet was different, charged with an energy he had never felt before. But that wasn't what caught his attention. It was the immense latent power in the god now standing before them.
All right, then let's give it everything we've got,
Goku exclaimed enthusiastically. Bardock nodded without saying a word, carefully analyzing the God of Destruction. Once everyone was ready, he and Goku took their combat stance, standing shoulder to shoulder in front of Beerus, who looked at them with a mix of excitement and curiosity.
You may both attack me at once, in any way you want. I want to have some fun,
Beerus said with a slight, challenging smile. The air around them instantly grew tense as Beerus began releasing his destructive power. Goku and Bardock exchanged a quick glance, as if sharing a silent understanding, knowing it was time for them to do the same. At that moment, Whis would signal the start of the battle by raising his arm.
Let the battle begin.
A few seconds after that, Goku and Bardock rose into the air simultaneously, their auras beginning to shine with intense brilliance.
Come on, Dad. Let's show him the results of our training.
Of course, they both let out a powerful shout as they raised their energy, which was devastatingly strong, shaking even the nearby planets. Moments later, they both transformed into the ultimate form of Ultra Instinct, a state beyond the mastered form, a form that combined their Saiyan instincts with the incredible reflexes of the technique. Beerus stood still, observing with surprise, as it was more than he could have imagined.
Maybe I got overconfident, but I won't back down either.
Beerus also began to rise to where they were, starting to release his Hakai energy with no restraint. His aura was simply incredible. He had never shown his full power in this way before. Once he had gathered all his Hakai energy, he assumed his combat stance. Come at me. Goku and Bardock wasted no time launching themselves toward Beerus at incredible speed, seeming to transcend anything seen before. Their fists glowed, imbued with energy, making their attacks even more powerful. When they got close enough to Beerus, they instantly changed their positions to catch him off guard, landing a solid punch to his face and abdomen. Beerus spat out from the powerful impact, as he had more strength than he'd anticipated. He tried to gather his strength and quickly grabbed both their arms, releasing a massive amount of energy that caused an explosion in the air. But that wasn't the end, as after the explosion, more impacts could be seen in the air. It was none other than Goku and Bardock, exchanging blows with Beerus. However, Beerus struggled to react, taking each blow from them, and each hit wore him down more and more.
Damn it! I didn't expect them to have improved this much,
the god of destruction said, trying to catch his breath. In a desperate attempt, Beerus, with a swift motion, sent Goku and Bardock flying backward with a powerful multi-ki blast from the palms of his hands. The two Saiyans managed to stabilize in the air, deflecting each blast of energy, even making them explode before they could hit them.
That god sure is strong. I can't imagine facing him without this training in that room,
Bardock exclaimed, adjusting his combat stance as the intensity of the fight began to ignite his Saiyan blood.
You're right. I hadn't managed to hurt him before either. This is new for me,
Goku replied with an excited smile on his face. They both knew that facing Beerus under normal conditions would have required more brute force, but thanks to their training, they now had a tremendous advantage.
All right, let's show him what we can do,
Bardock said with determination as they both launched themselves into the attack again, moving in perfect sync against Beerus, who continued firing multiple ki blasts. However, Goku and Bardock dodged each of these energy attacks with incredible ease and grace, as their Ultra Instinct had evolved and become better than before. Once they reached Beerus, Goku and Bardock's blows rained down on him like a storm, each one executed with precision and speed. Goku moved with the fluidity of Ultra Instinct, evading and attacking simultaneously, while Bardock, with his warrior experience, used a combination of brute strength and strategic agility. They complemented each other perfectly, as if each attack from one opened an opportunity for the other. Beerus, though blocking and dodging as much as he could, couldn't keep up with their pace and couldn't track their movements, receiving each of those hits. Despite his overwhelming power as a god of destruction, Goku and Bardock were pushing him, forcing him to take the fight more seriously than he had anticipated.
Damn it! This is too much!
Beerus shouted, gathering much of his Hakai energy and releasing it all at once to push the two Saiyans back and free himself. That caused Goku and Bardock to step back simultaneously, but their auras immediately intensified even further. The radiance around them was blinding, so much so that even Goku closed his eyes for a moment, allowing the power of Ultra Instinct to flow through him completely. Bardock did the same, following his son's lead. Their power vastly surpassed Beerus' Hakai energy, making it seem insignificant in comparison. Beerus frowned, clearly bewildered as the Saiyan's aura made him step back.
Damn it, they're leaving me no options.
Fueled by the great anger he felt, Beerus' aura suddenly expanded as he launched himself into the attack once more, unleashing a barrage of blows against them. This time, he seemed to attack with an extraordinary speed and ferocity, but Goku and Bardock moved as a single unit, dodging his strikes with otherworldly precision. Then, in an instant, they decided to interrupt Beerus' attacks and struck from different angles, combining their abilities in a deadly dance of pure power. Goku used rapid, precise ki blasts, while Bardock launched devastating hand-to-hand attacks, simultaneously evading the energy blasts that Goku shot to ensure they hit Beerus. Every time the God of Destruction dodged or blocked one of them, the other was right there to continue the attack, pressuring him relentlessly. Beerus countered with high-magnitude Hakai attacks, strong enough to shatter nearby planets. But Goku and Bardock, with their reflexes enhanced by Ultra Instinct, dodged them as if they were mere leaves in the wind, and even endured them. At one point, Goku managed to get close enough to land a direct kick to Beerus' abdomen, while Bardock took advantage of the opening to strike him in the back with a powerful punch. Beerus was sent flying backward by the impact, clearly wounded, with scratches all over his body. He hadn't expected to be overpowered this way, yet somehow, this made him smile, prompting the God of Destruction to let out a rough laugh. "That was impressive," Beerus admitted, though his tone now held a tinge of irritation. "Now, let's finish this." With a roar, Beerus unleashed a blast of energy that shook the entire planet as he clasped his hands together. Goku and Bardock looked on from a distance, knowing this was the climax of the battle and that they couldn't let it pass. With a determined look, Goku exchanged a quick glance with Bardock, and they both knew what they had to do. Without saying a word, they shifted their stances and began charging energy for their respective attacks. Seeing this, Beerus took the opportunity to gather all his strength into his final attack, a Hakai Supernova, the most powerful he could muster. Here it comes! Once his attack was ready, Beerus launched it swiftly at the two Saiyans. Seeing this, Goku and Bardock knew it was time to strike, so they unleashed Goku's Kamehameha and Bardock's final Spirit Cannon, combining their attacks and launching them at Beerus' Supernova. "Combined attack!" they shouted, joining their hands and releasing a massive ki blast directly at Beerus' Supernova. They had used and perfected this combined attack during their training in the hyperbolic time chamber, which was why they were so synchronized. The God of Destruction was astonished by the magnitude of the Saiyan's attack, so he raised both hands to make his Supernova advance with more force. Both attacks collided, shaking the entire universe, as nothing like this had ever been seen before. But Beerus' energy was nothing against theirs, and his Supernova began to rapidly retreat. The force of their attack also pushed Beerus back, as he couldn't withstand its power. Although he tried to counter it, it was too late. Goku and Bardock had achieved perfect synergy in their attacks, and their ki blast eventually overwhelmed Beerus' Supernova, engulfing him in a blinding explosion. When the light and smoke finally cleared, Beerus was left gasping for air, his body completely battered. Despite his immense power as a god, he had been overpowered by the overwhelming strength and coordination of the two Saiyans.
That was exhilarating,
Beerus said before descending from the sky and falling to the ground in exhaustion. Goku and Bardock did the same, landing softly in front of him, their bodies still glowing with the Ultra Instinct aura and without a scratch. Whis approached to tend to Beerus' injuries.
That was incredible. I never thought you'd reach this level. I dare say you've even surpassed me. And who knows how far your limits might extend.
As Whis began healing Beerus, the God of Destruction slowly lifted his hand and smiled.
You've completely defeated me, but it was the best fight I've ever had. Honestly. Even so, you're strong. If I hadn't had the advantage of training beforehand, this would have been different.
Same here. I didn't expect to reach this level either.
So, what will you do with your new strength? I'm not entirely sure, but perhaps my goal will be to find that tyrant Frieza.
I have unfinished business with him.